Enter a sports revolution with Athletes Unlimited, where innovation meets player-centric excellence. The most electrifying pro volleyball league on earth will soon crown a single-player champion. Naturally, player statistics and MVP honors carry weight, but team wins can launch stars to the top of the leaderboard. With 5 nights remaining in the season, the competition heightens as the reigning champion makes her much anticipated return. And we know you're gonna love it. Welcome to Arizona, where Athletes Unlimited Volleyball on ESPN is presented by the Air National Guard. We're in Legacy Park in a terrific matchup. Team Hilly and Team Hentz squaring off, each team looking for their first win of week number 4. And she's back. Betty's back after missing 4 games due to playing in the Pan Am Games representing the Dominican Republic. Betty De La Cruz is back, the reigning champion of Athletes Unlimited. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anne Marie alongside Key Michael, and Savannah Collins will be joining us a little bit later. How do you like this matchup?
I love this matchup for so many reasons. I think these are 2 really well-balanced teams, but I think the one thing it's going to come down to is not even a thing, it's a person, the Big Bet.
So anticipating this return, Betty De La Cruz, as I mentioned, the winner of Athletes Unlimited last year. Over 10,000 career leaderboard points. She just knows how to dominate. Key, how does she do it?
Well, how does she not do it? She does a little bit of everything. But Morgan Hentz's 11-game winning streak was finally snapped on Friday. But as you can see, she's reinforced with some pretty enviable firepower. Betty's fresh off the plane from Santiago, as you mentioned, but she's going to be in the hunt to make up some lost ground in the leaderboard tonight, no doubt, demanding as much space in the offense as Childress will allow her. And the word on the street after the drafts were released on Tuesday was, how did the other captains let Hentz get away with this?
Claire Chaussee went off Friday night.
She did. She is the only prescription for a team that has a case of the Bettys. She's been one of the most impressive rookies so far, effective from pretty much every area of the court. 27 kills in the match on Friday. She actually tied the game-high record set by Betty herself. With those numbers, it's incredible to me the purple side couldn't pull out the overall win on Friday, but Claire Chaussee makes this team a very dangerous opponent.
Betty De La Cruz back in orange, adding some more firepower to this team from the outside. There were such close matches on Friday, Key, by a couple of points. Perhaps Betty would have made the difference.
Yeah, Betty always makes the difference. I haven't seen a match where she hasn't made the difference. And it's interesting, she didn't get a whole lot of playing time down in the Pan Am Games. They didn't need her. They were dominant. But that just means she's going to be even fresher. She's just ready to go. And she's going to be chomping at the bit to try and make up those points because she's still very much in the hunt, in the chase for that leaderboard spot.
Yeah, she got 140 points last week, or 160 points. League overview, if you're just joining us, 44 world-class athletes on 4 teams. This is some of the best volleyball you will ever see. The scoring system is innovative, really fun. We'll help you with that. And the new teams are drafted each Tuesday by captains. This is a captain and player-led program. Alicia Childress for the first serve. Braced perhaps for Chaussee. Yassiana Presley. Just warming up. Everybody taking golf swings right now. Beautiful dig by Betty De La Cruz. Since Chaussee took her first swing, so will Betty. Looking at how the scoring works here, it really comes down to win points. You get a lot. So I mentioned Betty De La Cruz got the minimum last week while she was gone. And then individual stats, 5 points for a dig, 12 points for a kill, 8 for a service ace. And then at the end of the match, the players vote on MVPs. 1, 2, and 3. Those MVP points, Key, are huge when it comes to tallying up the overall points.
They are, and it's interesting that you're usually going to see outside hitters, big blockers, big attackers get those MVP, which is why it's so fascinating that Morgan Hentz, still sitting in the captain spot, isn't often getting those MVP votes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And for her to be a captain as a libero, Jill just goes back. Sassi gets a touch off the block.
And this is why the orange side, I think, is a little bit stacked, because the orange side hence stole. One of the players that she stole was Hippa. And she's now using her really, really well in that opposite spot.
Saskia Hippa is just such a consistent opposite point scorer. Hence chases it down, unable to bring it back. Point for Team Hilly. It's interesting to me, Kil.
We'll have another look at it. I like that, using the middle early, but there's the run down. I like that from Hens. Even though that ball didn't go up, she's still establishing that grittiness early.
Free ball to Team Hilly. Chase off hands. And there was a net violation on the block from Team Hens. I was going to say, it's interesting to me that every single position has been a captain at some point this year. We've had setters, liberos, pin hitters, middles. Shows you there's just a lot of balance, a lot of pressure.
Have we had an opposite?
Well, I said pin hitters.
Oh, yeah.
Covered myself there.
Yeah.
Power, Sassi.
I was going to say, the opposite's got to step it up. Even if the middles are getting the captain spot, at least the opposite should be doing something there. Well, Saskia Hippa would be getting the closest to doing it. I like that inside the ball as well. She's got that little inside, it's dying, so she's able to beat the block there on that angle.
Tori Dixon's serve. Yaciana Presley, what's special about the way she attacks the ball?
Well, right off the bat, I believe that was a cross attack, so she's coming into the middle zone of the court. She's been playing a little bit of opposite, a little bit of outside, so they can kind of use her with a lot of versatility. I like the way she plays.
Yeah, that's one of the things we saw on Friday with Team Hilly. They were doing old-fashioned X's to kind of clog up the blockers.
And I think none of these players, they realize they might get recruited or drafted into different positions. So you have to be a little bit flexible when you come to Athletes Unlimited. You're not only one thing as you might be for a club internationally.
And building on that, it's a lot of pressure to be captain. We have heard, in fact, Sydney Hilly ran into her over coffee the first week, and she said it's so hard to be captain. Of course, now she's been a captain 3 consecutive weeks in a row.
Yeah, I feel like she's probably getting a little more comfortable now.
Nuneviller pass. Her first swing of the day. Blasting through hands.
Nuneviller, another one of those fresh recruits to AU that's been super impressive. A little bit off the block there. Likes to use hands, can go line, can go cross, and do a bit of everything.
She and Hens played against each other collegiately and on the national team together in Turkey this year. From the backcourt, Hilly digs. Here comes Yassi. Yaciana Presley, the 2019 ABCA National Player of the Year.
And that's what we're talking about here. She's able to swing that on the opposite spot. We talked to her a little bit about, is she more comfortable in opposite or outside? She prefers outside, but hey, if you're going to get drafted to play on a team, you take what you can get, and she does a really good job in that spot.
Nuneviller again. So perfect as she changes pace. Looking at the points awarded, a service ace and a block, those are your biggest point scorers. You get subtracted too if you're making mistakes. Don't make a passing error. We all know it all starts with the first touch. You'll lose 12 points. Sydney Hilly calling her own number. She gets +8 for the attack.
I love a setter that gets aggressive. I know you were a setter when you played. Were you that kind of player that would just go for it anytime it's tight?
Yes, but I wasn't that kind of player like Hilly is. No, but absolutely. But I don't want to do it too often. I wanted to have a lot of faith in my hitters. Betty De La Cruz, she makes it, using the block look so easy.
Yeah, she's one of the best at it. I mean, with her experience, she's been around the game long enough that she knows exactly the moment to go aggressive because she has that power. She has that in her toolkit, but also those slow rolls and off the hand. She's one of the best.
You can buy tickets, by the way, and come here and see these athletes live. Go to auprosports.com. Benson down the line, dig. That's no fun when as a middle blocker, it goes right above your head. You can't figure out where it is.
Yeah, it's really difficult because you're focused on one thing, and that is pressing your hands over, getting that hard-driven ball slowed down. So anytime someone tips or rolls just behind you, there's also a split second of decision. Do I reach back and get it? Where exactly is it? Is my defense in place?
Outside, Saucy. Let me ask you this, about what you just talked about. At this level, because the athletes here are so incredibly unique, should you ever really reach back? Because I always feel like somebody's there.
Yes and no, because ideally you don't want to reach back, but also these players are only playing together for a week, so it's not as if you've had a whole season together to learn those tendencies and really establish that system.
Chaussee, good block by Dixon and Saucy. Dixon again. They're going to go to her a third time. And Betty De La Cruz frustrated with herself as that was headed out.
Was there a touch on it, though, as it was going? I'm not sure if it clipped the block on the way, but again, Chaussee leading the way in terms of point scoring for her side, and that's just kind of a high ball flung up there. Gets a second ball opportunity, goes higher, harder. I think there might have been a touch on that.
Saucy again. Hence with the dig. They go right back to her. Childress now will go the other way. Nuneviller, cross court, strong.
Beautiful swing. Here's another look at that ball from before, which we were calling might have been a touch. Oh, I think it was.
Yeah.
So no reason for Betty to be upset. She definitely had rights to go reach at that.
She holds herself to a very high standard. Dixon. Chaussee, nice job. Here it is again, second time that Hilly has attacked. She's going to make those blockers respect her.
And I'm looking at Dixon's face after that. As a veteran player, yes, she's a middle blocker, so the standards are a little lower for a libero, but she knows better than to just sit back on her heels when the setter's front row. Surely she could have been on that. She knows that Hilly's going to go for her.
Right. Chaussee backcourt now on the other side. Willis, Cruz, and Yassiana Presley up front. But Claire Chaussee just as offensive coming up on the Bic through the middle.
Oh, perhaps even better from the back row. I don't say that about a lot of players, but Claire Chaussee is one of them that is so effective there.
Fire power. Cruz, one of the most mature players in the league, does a great job holding people accountable. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see the leaderboard. This is dynamic. It changes throughout when players are earning or subtracting points, so keep an eye on it. (11-11), and we have had 11 ties.
These two, I told you in the intro, they're very well matched. I think if Betty starts getting going, we haven't seen as much out of her. And also, just a miscommunication there on the purple side, two players trying to go for it at the same time. That'll kind of work itself out as the game progresses.
Outside to Cruz. Childress sends it back. Betty De La Cruz loves that corner. She misses on that one.
Does she? I'd be surprised if that wasn't in. I mean, we don't have a great angle on it from where we're sitting, but certainly there's going to be a challenge.
And there is.
Betty doesn't miss often.
No, she doesn't. You know, and as you're saying, we're not seeing as much of her yet, but you have to remember, because she didn't play much in the Dominican Republic, she hasn't played for a week.
Well, there's the throw. Oh, that is close.
Are you usually right when you pick challenges?
From this angle, it
This will be
out.
This will be the better angle. Does the white line ever break? Oh my gosh!
Oh, it doesn't get closer.
It could be threads, but I
think I see a little bit of black between the sideline.
I think it's out. Yeah.
And the ball, but oh my goodness! Now from that angle, I'm not sure. The closer I get, the more I think it's in.
Well, so here's the thing, right? The original call was out, so it will only get overturned if there is conclusive evidence. Call was confirmed. You have 3 options on a challenge: confirmed, stands, or overturned. Kayla Caffey joining us now for a little chair chat. Kayla, thanks for talking with us during the game.
Of course.
What was your focus in practice yesterday as a team?
Yeah, yesterday I think that we just wanted to come in, get some good solid touches, really work on service pressure. I think that's what we need to do to win matches, is just put some good serves on them, get them out of system a little bit, especially with Betty returning. We just don't want her to get to hit much.
You definitely don't want to get Betty to hit much. Well, you haven't seen the court yet, but when you do go up against Betty, what is it you do to slow her down? I mean, as a middle blocker, are you going inside arm? Are you trying to reach to the outside? What's the mentality there?
There's not much you can do to slow down Betania de la Cruz. You just kind of have to like go up, be really disciplined with your hands, because she will tool you, use you. She's trying to go hands and out of bounds, just really low over and disciplined.
Man, it's so much easier said than done. Well, you're wearing the number 23. That's what you wore at Texas. You're wearing 28, excuse me, but you said you were wearing 23 at Texas. Is that right? Or you have the same number you wore at Texas?
No, I had 28 at Texas, but the joke was I never had a Caffey jersey because I transferred so late, and so I was like, I'm going to get my Caffey jersey with 28 on it. So this is kind of a homage to Texas. I just wanted my 28 finally with Caffey on the back.
On the back, there it is. Take it home. And thank you for joining us, Kayla.
Yeah,
so fun.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see what you do. It's going to be really interesting when she does come in. We'll watch what she's doing right now. It's Jenna Rosenthal in the middle for Team Hilly. Off the block, and it goes straight down. 13 ties so far in this, and Hilly again pulls ahead.
And interesting, because you say straight down, but it went up and then it went down.
Yeah.
So there's definitely time enough for someone to get under that. I'm surprised that we didn't see Betty herself maybe covering that ball, or someone else with enough time to get underneath it.
Yeah, Nundeviller maybe hesitated a little.
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see. Exchanging points. That one was straight down. Huge block by Jenna Rosenthal.
Everyone in AU should be taking notes. That is how you block Betty de la Cruz. I wish I could pinpoint exactly what she did, but her arm's so low and tight on that inside arm.
A 2-point lead for Team Hilly is the biggest lead by either team so far in set number 1. Athletes Unlimited Volleyball on ESPN is sponsored by the Air National Guard and by Aspiration, a global leader in financing climate impact. Midway through set number 1, the first match of our double header, 15-13 is the score. It's time to bring in the third member of our team, Savannah Collins.
We've talked about her all day, and Brooke and Team Hens is stoked to have Betty De La Cruz back, but maybe no one more so than Brooke Nuneviller. They played together on the same team in week 2, and she has had this huge impact on the rookie. She said that she's encouraged her to play bigger, play smarter. So when they're in hitting lines and they're just taking rips, getting prepped for a game, Betty will turn to Brooke and say, hey, that ball that you just hit is going to get blocked. And Brooke goes, you know what? You're absolutely right. She is constantly challenging her in that high standard that Betty holds herself to. She holds her teammates to that as well. Brooke was really reflecting on their time together and said, you know, in week 1, I felt like maybe I got away with a little bit, or I was just taking the glory swing when it wasn't the time. But being with Betty in week 2 really set her on a confident track to play this game smart and also play big too. She has talked so much about how much she loves playing with her.
That's so fantastic. And Key, I know that you had a similar kind of experience when your first year. Who kind of intimidated you?
Well, I think Savannah is spot on there with Betty being the most honest player I've ever played with. But I do remember coming into the gym in Athletes Unlimited, and you had Jordan Larson, you had Betty. I remember Shayla specifically. I went to say hi to her. I was waving my hands. I went to sit down on my chair, and it wasn't there. I just fell on the ground. One of the most embarrassing moments of my life, I have to say.
Yassiana Presley coming straight up the middle on the Bic. Hilly holds on to that 2-point lead.
I like them using Yassiana Presley on that middle back as well, not just reserving it for Claire Chaussee.
Going to Tori Dixon, hit with a feather. Yassiana Presley looks surprised from the backcourt, came in hot. Chaussee. Childress outside to Sassi. Long rally as Team Hens with Betty De La Cruz gets that point. Not only was she playing in the Pan Am Games representing the Dominican Republic, but they're back-to-back gold medalists for the Pan Am Games.
Yeah, I did a little bit of the commentary for that. Not in Santiago, didn't fly down there, did it remotely, but I remember thinking they were the most dominant team there. And that's what you're going to get, back-to-back medals, because they were just the best by far.
So much so that Betty De La Cruz didn't play much. You had alluded to that earlier. How might that actually benefit her today?
Well, I think she's going to be fresher. She wasn't needed. Her shoulder wasn't needed very much. She might be a little jet lagged, a little tired from the flight, from the travel, but certainly her shoulder's going to be feeling great.
Tied it up. Great by Betty outside and on top of it. Don't bounce in warm-ups, but go ahead and bounce in the game.
Oh, yes. Well, that's the thing as well. Nuneviller learning from Betty. So that in warm-up might have been straight down the line, might have been into the hands of the block, but she adds a little bit of angle on it. So watch how the ball comes a little inside of her, and she's fast enough to beat the middle blocker.
Ball long. And now it's Team Hens with a 2-point lead. I mean, this is the largest lead we've seen for either team. There have been 14 ties in this first set. Timeout taken by Team Hilly. After a run of 4 points, Team Hens takes the lead. Team Hilly saying, yeah, we need to talk about this before it gets out of hand.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down.
They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter, that electrolytes are all the same. Then just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominating and disappearing. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Check ball. Yeah, check up. Right here, check ball.
Let's forget about everything.
Let me see what you got.
Could be.
Check up.
Oh, you serious? Check.
are you guys enjoying about the match?
I like mommy.
Maya, Mina, and Amara, my kids, they mean everything. There just isn't anything that I wouldn't do for them.
A serve from Childress.
It's really important for me, I think, to have them see me as a professional. I dedicated almost my entire life to a sport, and if I didn't come back and play in AU, they would have no concept of that in real time. I could tell them about the glory old days when I played volleyball, but now they're actually getting to see it, and it's actually the reason that kind of spurred me towards getting back on the court, is that idea that I would have Childress on the back of my jersey, and that they could run out on the court after a match and be like, Mom, you did it. And that moment and that piece is worth all the challenge that it might be being a mom and an athlete.
And tonight we bring you the final Impact Week theme of the season, Moms in Sport. Athletes Unlimited is amplifying the voices of moms in sport with a specific focus on Black maternal health to ensure all people can safely give birth, care for their children with dignity, respect, and equitable care. Key, the way that Athletes Unlimited cares about their players on and off the court in every aspect of their lives is remarkable.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And to think to be a mom and go back to high-level sport is already difficult. So the fact that Athletes Unlimited provides some childcare, some daycare. I remember in the bubble, there were entire just dedicated to kids' games and a place where the kids could go.
So fantastic. Meanwhile, the lead now down to 2. Again, Hens had a 3-point lead for a moment, which is like a huge gap in this set because we've never gotten above 2. What does Team Hilly need to do to get back into it right now?
Well, they've done a pretty good job of slowing down De La Cruz. We mentioned she would be one of the top scorers. She only has 3 points so far, so now I think they need to focus on Nunaviller and getting her off the mark.
And they had an opportunity there to run the middle, and so they did with Tori Dixon for the kill. This ties the largest lead in this set. Coming into this week, Morgan Hens had won 11 consecutive matches. Her first loss was Friday night. Off hands, and so snapping that streak was notable. It ties for the longest streak in AU history with 2 softball players as well, and it is the longest streak in the volleyball side of things.
Really impressive. That includes a couple of her wins from last year. But yeah, she's that kind of player who's just getting the W's because it starts with that kind of pass right there. She's getting her team in positions.
Off hands. Ooh. Communication, a little bit frozen. Saucy with the kill. Savannah Collins, what'd you think of that one?
Well, I think that Team Hilly has their work cut out for them, but they took that timeout to try and regroup from the offense that we're seeing from this Orange squad. Their facilitator said, hey, I called that timeout so you all could take a breath, change your mindset, and try and step back into this match. Their captain, Sydney Hilly, said, hey, let's keep being aggressive, just like that swing right there. And another thing she said that I really liked was, let's not be afraid to go at Morgan Hens. Let's go at her. Let's challenge her tonight defensively. I really like that she said that. Might be the first I've heard anybody really express that in a huddle this year.
That's really interesting, Savannah, because Hens's win streak.
Absolutely, and I think that plays into why Morgan wins games. It's the defense. It starts with the pass. It's the confidence she creates in her setters that then just travels down the line to her hitters. But I like that Team Hilly was focused on, we're going to continue to be aggressive even though we know how dominant this team is defensively. And that travels from Morgan Hens to Brooke Nunaviller, Betty De La Cruz, too.
We'll keep an eye on it as Nunaviller serves. Wow! Yassiana Presley with a shot from the middle.
Love that aggression. It's fascinating what Savannah said about players now going after Morgan Hens. She's maybe had a few weeks now where they've tried to keep the ball away from her, but if Yassiana Presley can be aggressive like that from the front line, I'd like to see that as well from the service line.
How are you going to defend that? Because she's coming around. It's another crossing play as a middle. So what does that do to you as a middle blocker?
It kind of scrambles your brain a little bit. You've got to be communicative with your outside blocker. Say, hey, I'm taking this hitter now, and you've got the one that goes behind.
Cruz down the line. I think Nunaviller thought that Saucy was going to take that, and it didn't. So lead cut down to 1.
And again, communication issues, I feel, can be one of the biggest problems, specifically in this league, because players don't have a lot of time to get that habituation between each other. They have to really, in the moment, be very loud and say, hey, this is yours, this is mine.
Will they serve Hentz here? Nunaviller. Betty. That time, Betty dialing up the heat. Looks like she's warming up, Key.
I think so. I like that her team has stepped up as well, but when push comes to shove, Betty will step up when needed. She will be a huge point getter, even if she hasn't been just yet. Just a few points on the board, but that's the kind of thing she can bring.
Betty De La Cruz right now at 9th in the overall leaderboard, even after missing 4 matches. That ball was down. Left side, you see our leaders. The top 4 are the top 4 captains right now. Nunaviller hot behind. Chaussee, we talked about her fantastic match the other day. 22 serving 23. Saucy gets away from her.
Well, that was an aggressive serve. It wasn't at Hentz, and I'm keeping my eyes on now how many receptions Hentz gets. But still, with some power and some pace from the end line, that is how you get the orange side off the mark.
Cruz's serve going at Betty. They gave her only a sliver of court. Saucy pass. Go to the big breath.
Purple had their options there. When Alicia Childress went over and it was picked up, I thought that might have been the chance for the purple side to have a big swing. Instead, they end up sending a free ball, and that's just too easy.
Set point, Hentz. Chaussee, not so fast. Hilly's interested in extra points in set number 1.
The way that Chaussee attacks, you think she'd be a veteran player of years and seasons internationally, because she just goes without fear, and she sees the block. It's not as if she's swinging blindly into it.
Certainly does not look intimidated in any way as a first-year player. Saucy's able to get a touch off Cruz, and it'll be set point number 2 for Team Hentz with one of the best servers behind the line.
Ooh, yes, indeed. Let's just take one more look at that swing, because if that had been left to go out, there was no touch on the block, and Ari tried to get out of the way, Matrix style.
Yeah, she got body bagged. We all know it's going to Chaussee. Just she's brave with her swings. You know what I mean, Key? Like, just, it's set point, brave swing.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I'm seeing it. And it's so fun to watch so close up, because in the replay, I don't feel like it does justice to how high she's jumping over the block.
OT. Uh-oh, trouble.
Oh,
it's just saved, so here's a free ball to Team Hilly. They do hit at Hentz. All options available. Yassiana Presley wants a lot of it. No touch indicated by the referees. Set point number 3, Team Hentz.
That might be a missed opportunity for Team Hilly.
Chaussee out of the middle. There's been 18 ties in this set. No pacing yourself here.
I mean, these two, no one's given an inch, but I love that Team Hilly's really working on those combination plays. We've seen it a few times already. Chaussee running through the middle, or Yassiana Presley doing the same thing. It's really causing some strife for the orange front row.
Saucy does get a touch, according to the line judge, and set point number 4 for Team Hentz. And Team Hilly says, I want to see that again with a challenge.
Well, I wonder if they're challenging for touch or ball in or out. Touch is the question.
Yep. And again, the original call was that there was a touch.
Look at it in extra slow-mo here. Ooh, I don't think so.
Wow. If that isn't a touch, she really drove it right between like a triangle of hands. Oh, or over the top.
Every angle, it looks a little bit different, but I think the blockers are pressing just a little bit after. Yeah, the ball's gone already by the time their hands get over.
That was our best angle, I think, so far. And yeah, I think the block's late, to your point.
Yeah.
And because the block is late, too late to touch.
Exactly. So good challenge by Team Hilly. I think they're going to get this one.
And this is the angle the referees are most interested in.
Well, there's no touch on the net either.
That looked clear. I mean, I always kind of look for the black between, like, could I still see fans as I was looking through? And
I like to watch it in reverse angle because then you'll see some weird movement of the hands and you'll know it's awkward if it moves backwards, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but even when it's right over the hands, I don't see anything.
I say no touch. It's going to be overturned.
And it is overturned.
Timely challenge.
Well, here comes another one. Team Hens now wants a challenge.
Oh.
So after that, then they want a challenge in or out.
Well, we weren't even looking at this before, so we'll have to have some pretty good camera angles on it, I'm sure.
Each team gets 2 challenges, and so you don't get them back whether you win them or lose them. They can also help with a little bit of slowing things down. So a big momentum boost for Team Hilly.
Oh, see now
I didn't even see
the
that.
Conversation might be changed. I think that might be in.
Oh, that conversation turns.
Dun, 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 dun. Twist, another twist. Let's have a closer look. We need the side-on angle, I think, is probably the best one.
Yeah, so we can see if the white line breaks at all. Oh, it's just about as close as that other one, which the call was out. I think it's out. Take a stand.
Well, if it's in, it only has to touch the line by a sliver. And I mean, it can be the most minuscule of touches means it's in.
Right.
But if it doesn't at all, then it's out.
And this is Team Hilly's point because they are saying it was, in fact, out or in the black area of the floor. Threads can be on that white line, and it will be in. Claire Chaussee serving for the first set point for Team Hilly after fending off 4 Team Hens set points.
Huge comeback.
Blake Moeller is up front for Team Hens. Painful.
That one stings.
Yeah.
Especially when you worked so hard to claw your way back in. The moment there is just to force them to do something. All the pressure was on the orange side at that moment. Had to make them play.
What do you think of this front line for Team Hens? It's a smaller front line for them.
It's going to be a high ball outside, I think.
Ball out, no touch. And here we are again. Set point, number 5 for Team Hens.
Interesting choice to set Ari Cruz, I think, on that final point.
Yeah, the pass maybe pulled her off a little bit. Yeah. And so Hilly was seeing clear. And Childress is there. Very low to Chaussee. Bethany gets underneath it. Bethania and Nonaviller, they do it. Team Hens, after 5 set points, outlasts Team Hilly.
Well, Team Hilly tried to use Chaussee. As we talked about here, that wasn't necessarily the moment to do it. A little bit low and awkward. Betty is underneath it, and then the quick fling to the outside. So Willis is just that 1 step late. Nonaviller is able to catch it through the hands.
A 29-27 set win. For every ace during this year's Athletes Unlimited volleyball season, Aspiration is committed to planting 10 trees. Heading into this week, 930 trees have already been committed thanks to Aspiration's support. We're going to step away as these teams hydrate and reload for set number 2.
Check ball. Yeah. Check up. Right here. Check ball.
Let's forget about everything.
Let me see what you got.
Let us all.
Could be. Check up.
Oh, you serious? Check.
Third to throw home. Got her! Enough for Hens to be there.
That's right. We are fans too.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down.
They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter, that electrolytes are all the same. Then just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominating and disappearing. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Fer is my son. Don't make me cry, please. Please. Every day I learn something about him. And also, every day he teach me. He's really mature for his age, and sometimes I say, yes, you're right. I have to do what you say. He is my son.
Betty Boumaier from the service line.
When I'm in the court, okay, I'm the player, but when I'm in home, I cook for my son. I give him quality time, and I think this is the most important. And when you can use it, you will be a player and also a good mother. I love him, and I'm so grateful for him.
Welcome back. There's Betty De La Cruz. That was her softer side. She's got an all-business side as well.
Yeah, famous Fair, her son, as we used to call him last season. He brings out that side in her. It's amazing to see them together as well, because she's just a completely different person with him.
Because on the court, she's a
court,
killer.
Yeah, on the court, she is all business, as you mentioned. She's got a lot of aggression to take out, I feel like. And one of the things you can notice here, she hasn't been going her hardest. She hasn't swung full throttle just yet. And I think that's because she maybe only just had one day to train with this team. So she hasn't really found that groove yet with the setter. But I think as this weekend progresses between today and tomorrow, we're going to see a lot more production out of her.
What separates Betty from other elite players?
Her physicality, first and foremost. I mean, you can see just by looking at her, she's an absolute specimen of a human as an athlete. But also her mental game. I mean, she will not be beaten by anyone. If you look her in the eye and challenge her, she will stare you down and she will win.
Have you had that experience?
I don't want to talk about it. PTSD.
They serve Betty De La Cruz. Run in the middle to Rosenthal. And they are hitting it, Hens. Shut down. Hilly and Rosenthal.
Love that block from Rosenthal. I know she's a very aggressive middle blocker. Doesn't necessarily get talked about all that much. Her numbers speak for themselves, but she is somebody who's going to throw those arms over.
There were 19 ties in that first set. Here's our first one of set number 2.
I have a feeling we should just get used to it. They're
Yeah.
going to be going trading blows all set long.
Let's just do tally marks to keep up with things at this point.
I'll leave that to you. I'll leave the math to you.
Betty De La Cruz behind the service line. Massive, great pass by Benson. And finding the back third of the court is Rosenthal.
She loves the end of the court. She's not one of those players who likes to swing straight down. First of all, great dig there to keep that ball in play. But exactly like you mentioned, she's searching for that deep corner. And as a middle blocker, if you're a young middle blocker, that's something it takes a little while to learn, is to not go for the glory swing.
Tori Dixon from the middle. Chaussee. See if they can get Chaussee going hard. Yassiana Presley, as Childress gets it up. Bit of a misconnection there, but longest rally we have had tonight. Chaussee again. Nuneviller goes hard. Hentz scoops up. Oh, wow, coffin corner finish from Brooke Nuneviller.
I don't even know what to focus on in that rally. There were great things happening all over the place. Let's see what we get a look at, that final one. I think it's the throw to the corner, yes. And you see, well, Yassiana Presley, watch her in the right side. She's creeping up for the tip, and she watches over her shoulder. Normally that's zone 6 to run that down, but again, the communication error.
Followed by a big block. Yeah, and a communication error. You're saying if she's going up, where should she have been, or where should the communication have been?
Well, yeah, because Ari Cruz is in the back, in that middle back zone, so she has the right to run that ball down if it's deep and slow, like that one was.
Top 11 on the left side of your screen.
Can you believe De La Cruz still in the running, having
It's
not
crazy.
been here for
No,
4 games?
It's so funny, because as I'm looking at that leaderboard, that's exactly where my eyes go
Yeah.
first.
It's incredible.
Cruz, crusher. This one well off the net. Oh. Just right in the center.
And that's exactly almost the same play. And you saw on this side of Hilly's side that Ari Cruz does run that ball down when it's thrown just there. Good conversation after it happened the first time. I like that, like, Moeller keeps that in play, but then 2 players looking at each other.
There was a touch on the block. And, you know, talking about what you did with Cruz running that down, it's great to see that they made the adjustment.
Yeah.
Right? You don't make the same mistake twice.
And that is the key to success here at Athletes Unlimited. If you make a mistake based on communication, you have to adjust it literally immediately, because you won't have a whole season to work on it. You don't have chances to improve. You have to do it right then and there in that game.
Great point. Player Chaussee back to serve. Cruz, Willis, and Presley up front for Team Hilly. Alicia Childress on the other side, front court setter for Team Hentz. Brooke Nuneviller, beautiful reach and into the center of the defense.
Yeah, right there in that spot where there isn't anybody defending. There's kind of like 5 zones if you want to tip. There's 3 that are short. One's right behind the middle, just there into the center, because look at where the defenders are. Everybody is back behind that. No one's just sitting in that middle waiting for it. Someone has to make the move.
Do you have a pet name for that? Like we say campfire or donut?
I think I say the donut.
Yeah, the donut. A response from
come
Team
up with a
Hilly.
new one, though, as well.
Yeah, it's time. It's time. These have been going on forever.
Send in your applications for new name for donut or campfire. You could just make one up.
Fire circle, the circle of, yeah, I don't know.
The Lord of the Ring.
Betty De La Cruz backs up a lot to be able to make something of this. Are you kidding? Midas touch. That's so hard.
much more difficult than it looks because she has to roll it across the net. I think she might have even surprised herself with that because she somehow avoided the block, rolled it off the net, and it fell on the correct side.
Moeller's serve, pulls the pass off. Yassiana. How does Betty De La Cruz being there change what Yassi does?
She's just causing, her presence is causing some disruption in the attack. Yassiana Presley has to try and go around the block. You see, she sees those big hands. She's trying to turn it down the line, but it's not a lot of line to use there.
Yeah, Betty has huge hands. Tori Dixon sends it right back to Rosenthal.
Speaking of having huge hands, Dixon is so effective when she's in the correct place with her hands. Her shoulder strength is bar none.
We've been trading blows back and forth. This is the first 2-point lead. Yassiana Presley off high hands. Betty's getting going. That's a signature Betty move.
And it's interesting, we talked about what Yassiana did when Betty was in the way. She tried to turn it around, go do something different. Betty doesn't care. She just powers straight through whatever block is in front of her.
A 4-0 run as Blake Moeller serves. Chaussee with attitude.
Similar style. She's like kind of like a mini Betty. Just powers straight through the block. 3 blockers up, I think, at that point, and she just went straight for them. Felt like they were 3 blockers up. It was only 2.
There you go. It's an interesting matchup. Betty De La Cruz, one of the older players in the pool. Claire Chaussee, one of the younger players in the pool. Yet there's so much similarity in the way they're playing.
And I think if you're a young player learning to play the game, obviously Claire Chaussee has developed herself to this level, but kind of having the attitude of playing like you are a veteran goes a long way.
Right? You belong. First 3-point lead. Outside.
Oh, nice.
It'll be a free ball to Team Hilly. Do you go back to Betty De La Cruz? Good pass means you can run your middle. 2 Libros going for it, essentially. And down the line crush.
Well, it doesn't hurt to have 2 liberos in the backcourt. And that's the kind of grittiness, again, we've talked about what does Hans have on her team. She's setting the bar for defense. So you see Nunaviller sprawling to get that out. That is exactly why she's following suit with Hans.
Largest lead of the set, 11-7. 4 points is a big gap in a match this close.
Check ball. Yeah. Check up. Right here. Check ball.
Let's forget about everything.
Let me see what you got.
Let us go.
Could be. Check up.
Oh, you serious? Check.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down.
They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter. That electrolytes are all the same. Then just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominating and disappearing. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Set number 2, Athletes Unlimited Volleyball. Team Hens breaks open to a 4-point lead. See, you've got a, or Key, you've got a perspective on this match from playing in. Who do you think's at the top?
Well, I was asked earlier today, who do I think might win? I think for me, the favorite's got to be Leah Edmond. She's got the most points on the board at the moment. She's been dominant. Claire Chauncey definitely in the hunt. You see that from her performance tonight. And I had to throw in a middle blocker there just for funsies. But I think the one that has the best chance there has got to be Molly McCade. She's doing some big things.
Well, and let's not forget about Betty De La Cruz. Savannah is at the whiteboard.
Okay, let's talk about it. Is it possible for Betty, who's in 9th right now, to come all the way back up to 1st or maybe medal? So let's talk about how we got here. Starting in week 1, everybody starts out at 0, of course, and then Betty in week 2 was number 7th on the leaderboard after week 1 of play. Going into week 3, she was actually in 1st place, but she wasn't the gold team captain because she was playing with her Dominican national team, and she had a 137-point lead. Remember this number as we talk about this. And then in week 4, coming into this week, after missing 4 games, she was ranked 7th, and then after last night, she dropped down to 9th. So it's a tough hill to climb, but here's some things to know about Betty. She averages about 100 to 200 stat points per game. What she's really going to need, these are for fun because when we're winning games, we're having a blast. These are her stat points, and she definitely needs those spark plug on fire MVP points. Now, do I think she can take this top spot from Leah Edmond? It's not that I doubt Betty De La Cruz. It's that I don't ever like to put my money or doubt against Leah Edmond. So she's got her work cut out for her, but here's the number. I had to do the math ahead of time because we're not doing this on the fly. It's 835. That's how much she trails Edmond. So I think these 2 through 4 spots for Betty are definitely in the cards as she heads into week 5 with her prowess.
Well, Professor Collins, that was fascinating. I love that. So the 100 to 200 is something, so if she gets those, I'm trying to think about if she gets that here, she'll, of course, climb the leaderboard because Edmond hasn't played yet.
I'm glad that we left the math there to Savannah. What's interesting to me is that she has to get about 100 to 200 points in addition to what, let's say, Leah gets. She has to get that on top of what Leah gets. So,
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I know, it's an accent thing.
It's the French coming out. I also say Chauncey, I apologize for that.
Yeah.
But she has to get not only those points, but that has to be in addition to whatever the people in front of her get.
Fascinating to look at. There's a powerful serve. That one's just long. And again, if that was to be an ace, it would be 12 points, as an example. That's okay. I say libero, you say libero. So, I mean, we've got our
Potato,
things.
potato.
I just wanted people to know that you were talking about Edmond.
Yes.
Saucy continuing to deliver. Here's a free ball to Team Hilly. Pass doesn't let them run the middle, though. Chauncey works hands.
Chauncey, she's in the hunt. She's on my list in the hunt for a reason. I think that she can put up big numbers. We saw her with 27 kills in the last match. I mean, that is the kind of play that if she continues at that rate every match here forward, she's in the running for that gold spot.
I mean, that's a single game record tying Betty De La Cruz, as you mentioned. Chauncey does a recycle there, right? Pushes softly into the block. Outside ball going to Nunaviller. They go really low and quick.
Great play on both sides. There's a scrappiness. There's a feeling right now on both sides that they have to get some kind of momentum going. There's that last play. And again, I love that Deja McClendon's made her way into the mix, cleaning it up there in the backcourt. The final swing through the hands. The blocker's just not quick enough.
There she is again, and an over-dig kill. That's plus 12, or plus 8 for you, McClendon.
I was gonna say it would have been. Oh, you were talking about McClendon. How did that land back in the in the court?
She wanted 8 points instead of 5, because that's what you get for a dig and a hill.
Beach move there.
Yeah. Saucy sends it long. Remember that you get 40 points for every set win, and then you get a match win, which is the aggregate overall score. You can follow that down below the scoreboard. Right now, for example, Team Hens leading Team Hilly 43-39 overall. At the end of 3 sets, those numbers add up. Whoever has more of those gets an extra 60 points. And every player on the team gets those points.
So if Team Hens wins all 3 sets plus the overall, they get 160 points automatically. So then Betty De La Cruz would just have to make somewhere around 50 to 100 more points to get in that range that Savannah was talking about, that she would need every match from here on out to make it up.
I was just doing that math. Yeah, 180. I haven't added in years. I married an accountant and I just stopped.
Yeah, see, it's safe not to let me do any of the math. That's exactly why.
Back row. Dig. Look how much they're relying on Nunaviller because she's been consistent. Chaussee using the block.
Moeller hasn't got a whole lot of time in the front row, and in fact, there goes the substitution.
Just coming in now is Marin Grote, and Nicole Edmund Cagliari is with us for a chair chat from Team Hilly. How are you, Nicole?
Good. How are you guys?
Really good. It's been a 4-point run. Now we're back locked up at 4s apiece. What are you seeing in this match that sets one team apart from the other?
Yeah, I think for us right now, we're really focused on our block defense. Obviously, they have Betty and Saskia who are great scorers. So for us, we're just trying to do our best to slow them down and also take them out of system with our serve. So in the first set, we had a lot of errors, and so we're just trying to focus on our side a lot more and get back in our groove.
Nicole, I know you're fluent in 4 languages, Spanish, English, Portuguese, and French. How would you pronounce Claire's last name?
Chaussee.
Thank you.
All right, do you say libero or libero?
I actually asked her. She did confirm she's French, so we have the confirmation from Claire as well.
Chaussee. What have you enjoyed about this Athletes Unlimited experience? What's the best part for you?
I've enjoyed so much. I mean, I think the most important piece of this that I've enjoyed is just the people and the girls that I've met. I mean, it's the only league in the world where you change teammates every week, and we just have a great group, like 44 strong. Everybody's great athletes. Great competitors and great people too. So it's just been an amazing experience so far.
Nicole,
really lucky to be here.
It's so much fun. Your husband Daniel is Brazilian. He plays professionally in France. What position is he? And do you guys chat volleyball in your free time?
We do. We try not to, but it's hard not to. Yeah, he's an opposite, also a lefty. So he helps, tell me how to set, and I give him some shots sometimes on his swings, but he's great.
What is it about boyfriends and husbands just telling you how to play?
Yeah, you gotta help each other out. It's nice to have another pair of eyes.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Scrappy play continuing. Here, Hilly goes to her middle. More middle action needed. Oh, wow. Childress didn't get that one down. Betty De La Cruz is waiting on the pin for that ball.
Well, it's gone just long, but again, while we've been chatting, it's almost as if you blink and everything changes. Now we're tied up, so the purple side doing a little something special to slow down Hens and company.
I mean, this is so much like the first set. There's 9 ties midway through the second set. There were 19 in the first. Betty De La Cruz, she's getting the ball. It didn't look like Betty was happy to not get the ball in that long rally. There was no question there.
I remember speaking to her once about, what do you do when you're not getting the ball? And she said, I don't say anything. I just give the eyes to my setter. And I feel that that's what's going on right now. She's just looking at Alicia Childress saying, this one's for me. I give you a perfect pass. You give me back the ball. I score.
It's an agreement, right? Let's shake hands on it. Yeah.
That's the math.
Grote's serve to McClendon. Again, Team Hilly not able to run the middle, but they are able to run the Bic out of the middle. 10th tie of the set. The scrappy play key is remarkable. Very little getting down.
Yeah, and I like this Bic, out of Claire Chaussee. She runs it a little faster than we see other players, especially in this league. And I think that's what makes her so successful. The blockers are in place, but they're just a little bit late because she's so fast.
When we're in week 4 now, how have you seen the level develop and the kind of the gelling of teams from week 1 all the way now through week 4? Have you seen a difference?
I think the players just kind of get used to it because when you come into Athletes Unlimited, you think, oh, there's this scoring system. It's different. There's the drafting. There's the captains. There's the changing of teams. But once you start to just settle down week after week, you realize, oh, we're just playing volleyball. I've been doing this my whole life. And then people start to kind of get comfortable with each other. The level increases, the communication increases, and the overall sport just better.
For the most part, you know, you're playing with new people every week. But for Team Hilly, there's 6 players on this that were on Team Hilly's roster last week as well. So the only team that has 6 returning players with their captain.
If you compare that to Hens, she has only 1 player returning from her side. So it's a really one side maybe feel each other a little better.
Oh, Yassiana Presley blasting through the block. She's a great addition.
Oh, yes, she is. That was a good steal for Team Hilly. Stole her from Team Edmond last week. Presley now with a little bit of confidence, so she's now going at that block, not worrying too much about the hands.
Deja McClendon behind the service line as we are again tied up for the 11th time. Serving tough, key, essential, because if you don't, they'll just side out.
Yeah, and when you're back there, and I always like to mention this when there's anyone who's made a mistake, you're always going through this risk-reward ratio in your mind. How aggressive do I go, and how much do I just make sure the other team plays?
Wow! Game face on after that crush from Yassiana Presley.
Let me just pick my jaw up off the ground. My goodness, Presley. The bit is working for her too. What's so good about that, not only the power and the sound of it, she's going angles, really sharp angles.
I believe her Baylor Bears played against Morgan Hens's Stanford Cardinal in 2019 in the national championship tournament.
Well, there's a little bit of revenge then, is there?
Yeah, there is, because yes, Stanford won. Amazing. Team Hens leading by 1. Trouble pass leads to an attack out of bounds.
And that's some good pressure by the blockers there, I think, on the orange side. I saw some hands going really pressed over Maren Grode, who hasn't seen a lot of playing time, but she's got a lot to do with that ball being forced out of bounds.
A 2-point lead from Team Hens. Let's go into the action now with the Air National Guard.
Oh, DJ. It's crazy. DJ, hey. That's a great swing by her. It's a good high swing by her. Next one. And make sure if you're up that maybe you stay on the sideline because she's going to rotate and you're tall, so it's hard to see the ball like over your head. Like when we rotate, like sometimes you come under and it's like you're right in front of middle back. So maybe just like stay on closer to the sideline and move forward when we rotate, because then I think they can see it better. But you're pretty tall, so yes. Come on!
Childress running the offense. She, of course, is one of the top 4 setters in the league. Former multi-time national champion with Penn State, national team member, Olympian. And here's your top 4 setters. What do you make of them?
Well, in terms of points, those are just numbers to me. But in terms of personalities, I think it's so important to have one of these type of setters who's communicating. You saw it in that mic'd up session just there. Alicia Childress talking to Saskia Hippa saying, this is what's open. Here's what I need from you. This is what I'm going to give you. And you get that out of all 4 of these setters. Every player we've spoken to about these setters has said, yeah, she gives me good feedback. She's really talking to me about what I need, what she needs, and how we can work together to make something happen. So yes, those are some big numbers. But for me, the importance is those players as people.
Meanwhile, Brooke Nunaviller going off.
9 kills and 5 digs, so front court and back court, she's been fantastic at the net. That energy, we saw her talking about Betty de la Cruz and how she now feels she has to step up. I feel like she's doing it tonight. She's going off in that aggressive area. Donut over.
I saw Savannah Collins creeping over at that Hilly huddle. What'd you learn?
Well, I learned that they were going to do what they just executed. Their captain said, keep playing with courage in a situation when they're down late in the game. She didn't want them to get timid and be too scared to take big swings. The other focus was something we heard earlier in the match was, hey, let's control the tempo, control our mindset, take a breath when we need to. And then the other one was, let it rip.
Savannah, other than Hilly, who's talking in that huddle?
You hear from their facilitator, you hear from Nicole Edelman-Cagliari a lot, and I'd love to shout out Deja McClendon. She has such a mind. When she is in the game and on the bench, she is constantly collaborating with everybody on the floor. So there's a lot of voices in this Hilly group, but that's who I've started to hear from the most in the past couple timeouts.
And we're going to get to hear a lot of that later because Deja McClendon is also wearing a mic. Thank you, Savannah. Chaussee down on the block, and Team Hilly back within 1.
It's fascinating to hear who are the ones talking in the timeout, because I think it's a difficult situation to be in to try and add something, especially if you're coming from off the bench. Chaussee, like this replay right here, she's getting her kills, but if you're sitting on the bench, you're able to watch what's going on. You can see, hey, there you've got line, you've got cross open, and you can talk to each other.
Nunaville are into the ring of fire yet again. What are you going to say? Yeah.
I like it. Right there.
What's so hard about defending that part of the court?
Well, the thing is, if you look at where the defenders are lined up, you have to either commit to that short ball or you're ready for the hard driven. If the blockers are doing their job, they'll take away most areas. But if that tip is just short enough, there's just nobody there.
Pressure kill. Betty de la Cruz has to just pop it over. McClendon is out, and we're not seeing Team Hilly run the middle very much at all. Why is that?
They haven't been able to. They haven't been getting that ball onto Hilly's head. She cannot run the middle if she's not at least close to the net, a couple of steps off at maximum.
Set point, Team Hens. And right as we say it, they get an opportunity. Betty de la Cruz for the set, works the block. A 4-point win for Team Hens, pushes them even farther ahead in the aggregate.
They'll be happy with those points. Betty de la Cruz will be happy with her kill too. Straight off the hands. I like that Hilly's trying to run Emma Willis here. It's just that little bit high and slow, easy pickup for Orange side. And then Betty turning her whole shoulder and body down the line. That's Betty doing Betty things.
And Yassiana Presley right in front of us, looking at her hands afterwards like, I know I was facing the right way. What a fun match we have going. 2 sets are down, both by Team Hens. What's coming up next? Athletes Unlimited Volleyball on ESPN is sponsored by the Air National Guard and by Aspiration, a global leader in financing climate impact.
Show me your best bobble.
I'm not doing that.
It'll be like...
This is really cool.
This is such a good bobblehead. Can I stick this on my car and just have her ride with me everywhere I go?
Oh, she's a baller. She's my fave.
I love Morgan, but I hate it. I feel like this doesn't even look like Morgan, but I think she deserves to have a bobblehead.
Looks ready to ball out. It's like Morgan.
It's kind of scary, but like, she's cute.
This is wonderful. Do people still use bobbleheads for stuff?
She has to love it. It's so cool.
I never thought I would ever have my own bobblehead. It's pretty cool. I think my mom's been begging for it. She's like, you have to get one.
It's pretty awesome. Right, maybe just a little more bobble, but great job.
I certainly hope that Morgan Hence's mom got a bobblehead. Hence has led her team, Captain Hence, to 2 wins so far. Set 3 coming up, but let's look back at the end of set number 2.
Here we go. This is what we were talking about, why Betty De La Cruz is one of the best in the game. So you're going to see this first ball. I think it's a little high for Willis to do anything with. There's the dig from Hence, but watch how inside this ball is. So roll it forward a little bit. And right here, stop. Look how far inside Presley is from the antenna. She's set up perfectly. She goes straight over, low and tight. That's all you can ask out of your blocker. But because that distance from the antenna is so far, you'd think the blockers have the advantage. You'd think that that would have been a stuffed block. Not on Betty. No, sir. She just turns her body and powers it off the hands and out of bounds.
She's so good at it, and there are no tells. You know what I mean? It's not, her approach is still outside. Betty De La Cruz behind the service line now has a very powerful serve with her extra large hands. And got under it that time. Somebody was telling me in week 2, one of the fans here at Loving AU Volleyball was saying when she bounces the ball 6 times, she goes here. And when she bounces the ball 7 times, she goes here. And I'm like, come on now.
Wow, we'll have to watch out for the bounces.
I mean,
I feel like she doesn't have any tells.
I don't think so.
I don't watch enough tape, I guess.
Nunaviller gets on top.
I just love the way Nunaviller has stepped up. Again, we talked about her being really impressed by Betty, but she has more attacks, more kills right now. She's at 13 points total. Betty's at 11, so she's the one leading the charge. Betty's going to be looking at her now saying, hey, what did you do there? How'd you get past that block?
And Savannah, I know you were talking to Nunaviller. What's the story?
Well, Nunaviller has heard 3 things throughout her entire career. You are too small, you will never be big enough to be an outside, and you probably won't play at the highest level. And every time she has heard that, she has used that to feed her to be better. And that's what she has really loved about her rookie year as a pro, is she is constantly proving people wrong. It's what inspires her to jump higher, swing harder, and be the smartest player on the floor, is because she wants to prove all the critics wrong, that I belong here. And I think if you're going to look at her place on the leaderboard and how she's performed this season, I don't think the haters have much left to say.
Savannah, when she was telling you that, I'm curious, like, was she laughing, saying they've underestimated me, or was she more steely? Like, they did this and they're going to have to pay for that.
Definitely steely. I don't know maybe what your impression of Brooke Nunaviller is as you watch on TV or hear in person, but she has a fire when she talks about this aspect of her career. And she even talked back to when she was being recruited. There were a lot of schools that offered her as a libero, but Oregon was the one that was, hey, we want you to come out here and become an attacker. She credits that growth in her career to that, and she's loved that she's been able to stay in the game and really start to master the position of outside hitter.
Thank you, Savannah. And you can see on the leaderboard left side of your screen, Nunaviller currently in 4th place. Thanks to her play, Betty De La Cruz has moved up to 7th. Tick, tick, tick.
She's coming. Well, and it's interesting what Savannah said about her height. So she's 5'11", and if you compare that to some of the attackers, Betty is 6'2". You've got Alicia Childress at a setter is 6'0". Saskia Hippa, 6'1". Even Morgan Hench, she's only 2 inches taller than the libero, so certainly trying to make up for that with her play.
Pass from Hence. And a stuffed block from Team Hilly.
I'm not sure who got the most of that, Ari Cruz or Kayla Caffey, but she's just kind of entered the game, and she's one of the best blockers in the season and doesn't get that much playing time. It always surprises me. I think it is Ari who got most of that.
Trouble. It's just going to be a free ball. Cruz is on the outside. Yassiana Presley. They're waiting for the right set to attack, and that's it. Wow. Same play that we saw at the end of set 2.
Exactly the same play. Throw that ball up high. It literally does not matter who sets it, where they set it. Is it on the net, off the net, high, low, inside? Betty waits in the air. She's looking at the block, and she's like a sniper with her finishing arm.
Yeah, I got Yassiana Presley twice there. Following up on what you just said, because Betty De La Cruz does like a higher set, and Nunaviller needs a lower, very quick set to break the block. What does that say about Alicia Childress as a setter to be able to deliver in very different ways?
Any high-level setter will tell you they have the hardest job on the court because they have to supply what every other player needs. They have to learn every player on the court. If I'm a middle blocker, I just say, I want this, and that's it. I don't have to worry about anyone else. As a setter, you have to know what every single player likes, and when it comes to tempo, height, speed, on the net, off the net, front court, back court, there's just so much to learn. You know that.
She's spectacular at being able to make it all work. Hilly to the back court. Betty. They're going to use Betty over and over now. She's warmed up. Chaussee gets around it. Big time dig. Betty De La Cruz once again at that outside blocker.
It's pretty much rinse and repeat now at that stage. And I just wonder, because she has used those balls that die a little inside that are really high, they're a bit out of system. The blockers on the other side need to recognize that, and it's all about the outside hand at that point. You're not worried about cross blocking. You're going, how do you maintain and turn that hand from the outside in?
Coming up, we're just getting started here at 9:30 Eastern time. Join us on ESPNU for Team Linehan and Team Edmond. Both these teams won on Friday night. Somebody's going to take a loss. To your point, every player out here knows that right hand has to be turned in, and they're trying, no question, right, that they're trying. So, I mean, what else can you do against Betty than that, besides pull your right hand down?
It's tough because you'll have a lot of players who end up injuries in their fingers because you can't just turn your hand entirely to face it so that it's fingers forward. That's not the way to block. But somehow, some way, you have to just turn it just that little bit so the wrist and the palm are still going to get the chunk of the block, but it's facing back towards the court somehow. Way easier said than done.
There you go. And Betty De La Cruz probably thinking, I have an answer for that too. From the backcourt, tagging the sideline is Claire Chaussee. Big moments, big swings.
She is a big-time player. She passes that ball for herself as well, so I like that Hilly gives it back to her. And then just underneath the block, and Tori Dixon, not an easy block to get around.
Able to run the middle with Dixon. Betty swing. Yassiana Presley cocks that arm back to let it go. Here comes Sassi. Morgan Hens read that all the way. Dixon yet again. 2 middle sets by Team Hens in that rally.
That was a difficult position as well for the orange side to be in because that's when Betty is on the right side. That's that one rotation where Saskia's on the outside. Betty's on the right side, so they're kind of swinging in their awkward positions. That's definitely a time to get the middle going.
6 bounces for Betty De La Cruz.
Oh, were you counting?
Yes.
And then she goes libero.
I don't think there's any method to it. There can't be. Off hands and to the back corner. Team Hilly will not go away. The magic number, by the way, for Team Hens to win the aggregate and those extra 60 points is 20. So if Team Hens gets to 20, then they will have 2 set wins and a match win automatically. And that's your 140 points.
There you go.
40 more on the line for the winner of this set.
Whoa. Okay, Sassy with the set.
Free ball. Betty in the middle. Sassy on the right. communication error.
That's surprising to me because that's usually a conversation to be had between the middle and the libero. So have a look again. That ball goes off. You know it's Childress taking that first one. I'm surprised that Hentz didn't come sprinting in for it.
Yeah.
That
Typically
seems like her bread and butter. Yeah.
Maybe she's carb free. I don't know. Outside, Nuneviller. I mean, it's just dropping bombs right now, left and right. Hard attacks, especially from Nuneviller and Yaskiana Presley.
Whenever I'm watching a volleyball match, I'm always putting myself in the shoes of the middle blocker on any given side. Right now, who do you focus on the orange side? Who do you try and slow down first?
I don't know. If I was on the purple side, I'd say, I want to be set. And Kayla Caffey is. Maren Grote shuts her down.
That's fascinating because that would not have been my choice, but it was the right one. Maren Grote, commit blocking on the middle. She's reading that set perfectly.
Especially because they haven't been running the middle, right?
Exactly.
This one's off.
Good touches.
Betty brings it back. Amanda Benson sets the tone with the pace of that dig. Nuneviller from Betty De La Cruz.
They are starting to heat up, and that's when you know a team's feeling good, when things are out of system, not going perfectly, but they find ways to make it look smooth.
Team Hilly wants to stop the momentum. They'll take their first time out of set 3.
My mom has given me a lot of great advice throughout my volleyball career, but one of the biggest things is praise progress, not perfection. I tend to be a perfectionist sometimes, but being able to have that bigger picture and just 1% better every day. Not every day is going to be perfect because volleyball is a game of mistakes, and just to be able to have that wider perspective of why you play and just why you love the game.
Praise progress, not perfection. There is a couple of mothers on this wonderful day. Betty De La Cruz and Alicia Childress there, along with Kayla Banwith. The work that Athletes Unlimited does to support mothers just blows my mind as a mother of 3, because that is the hardest thing. Childcare sometimes can, completely upend the ability to work because it costs so much. Athletes Unlimited takes care of that, not just for their players, but for their staff. It takes it off your mind, Key, so that you can go to work. And in this case, get on the court and worry about what has to happen there because you know your kids are taken care of.
And I have so much respect for the mothers that are still playing at any level, let alone this high of a level. I can barely get myself out of bed and dressed. They have to do it for other people too, other humans.
It's no joke, I'll tell you that. And coaches too. There's a lot of mothers that coach. So Athletes Unlimited, they just amplify the voices of mom in sports where, we've seen historically a lot of organizations kind of make it difficult for a mom. The WNBA just changed their rules recently to support mothers more. So
it's awesome.
Athletes Unlimited ahead. After a 3-point run by Team Hens, Chaussee gets outside quickly. Sassy. Betty De La Cruz hasn't been hitting from the middle in terms of a bick. Chaussee using hands, give it back.
And you could see Sassy afterwards kind of frustrated with herself. I think she knew. So she's just that little bit late. She's flying out. Gives that right hand. Chaussee said, thank you very much. I'll take that.
Not that you ever got used on the block,
Never.
but it's the worst feeling, is it not? You're like, you just did that to me.
Well, I didn't play a lot of right side block, I have to say. It's usually in the middle. So middle blockers, we have it a little bit easier because all we have to do, I say all we have to do, like Kayla Caffey just did there, is close the block and throw your hands over with strong shoulders. We're not so often going to get used on the outside.
Right.
But yeah, it's a tough position to be in.
See, I said you never get used. I know that firsthand, blocking, and it would make me really angry. Chaussee going the long way off Sassy's hands again. Last time out on one side, this time out on the other.
And it's almost as if she can predict the future because last time Sassy gave her a little bit of a loose hand. This time she said, you're not beating me again. I'm going strong and tight over. Chaussee almost felt that, said, okay, I'll just go even stronger this time.
Good eye. Point for Team Hens. And a really nice 3-0 scoring run for Team Hilly there to close the gap again.
It's a shame to end it with an error, but again, all of that starts with a tough serve. So a little error out the back, you'd rather that than just soft serves.
If the pass is good, Team Hilly could get middles going, but it just hasn't had that many opportunities. Grote behind, speaking of middles.
I actually love the addition of Maren Grote here. She was the 9th pick on Team Hens, but Morgan's not afraid to make changes. She said, hey, let's try something new. Let's throw in something different. And Grote has already gotten a couple of blocks, some touches, some slowdowns. Now they're involving her in the offense. I like it.
Well, and that's kind of what you were talking about, and Savannah was talking about being active on the bench.
Yeah.
You're so invested in the game, in a way you feel like you're playing because you're taking everything in, so you're ready when your number is called.
And when you're in, you have to prove it. We've seen a couple of players stock rise just from a few moments on the court.
Betty De La Cruz, a little tenderness from the backcourt.
Right there, down the center. I like a little tenderness out of Betty.
Usually reserves that just for her son, but brought a little in.
Yeah.
Some errors by Team Hens just opens the door a crack for Team Hilly.
Just a crack, and that's all they need, especially at this level between these players that know each other so well. They understand when there's a little bit of crack in the armor and when to go for the kill. And I think it's now for Team Hilly.
Team Hens has already got 80 points from their first 2 set wins. There's another 100 points available for Team Hilly if they win this set and the aggregate. But they actually, I don't think they're going to be able to win the aggregate now that Hens is at 16 because it's a 10-point differential.
Magic number is 20, right?
Yep.
You got to keep them underneath it.
Yep. Nuneviller to De La Cruz. Ooh, that's a hard ball coming over the shoulder like that. Caffey bringing energy.
I'm surprised we didn't see Betty go off the hands again and turn that one down the line. This time she's testing the inside block of Caffey, and I think it's been tested a few times, and she's proven she's got it.
De La Cruz again, off the block again, and it is a net violation against Team Hilly. Team Hilly middle, Jenna Rosenthal, is in the chair for us now. Jenna, what a battle this has been back and forth between these teams. When you're on the court, what are the things that you're looking at across when you're analyzing Team Hens?
I think you really got to make sure you get a good read off of Glass Childress. If you can get a good read on her, you can get into a really good spot and be able to slow down their pins. They've got a really strong swing, especially in Betty and Sassy, and so getting an early read on that is really key.
Jenna, I know you're in the robotics club. Tell me exactly what that is and how do I join it?
I'm sorry, the robotics club, we're throwing it all the way back. Yeah, so in robotics club, this was back in high school, you get to literally, it's like Legos, but a little bit more involved with the science and servos, and gosh, I almost don't remember. But yeah, Google it.
You have to be a brainiac to get in, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think I would make the cut.
There you go. Jenna, we'll let you go so you can get in this huddle and talk with your team. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Jenna Rosenthal, a team captain also. She was a captain in week 3. So there's your middle captain. And of course, for every ace during this year's Athletes Unlimited volleyball season, Aspiration is committed to planting 10 trees. 930 trees have been committed before the beginning of this week. There's 1 ace so far in this match, so 10 more trees. Let's go into the action with Deja McClendon.
Again, Claire, again. Go line, baby. Yes. That's it. Same corner. Yes. Yes! 1, 2, 3. Way to switch up your calls. When you got like a transition ball where you hit the first one, maybe the second one, Betty is starting to rotate on your line. Deep line. So she's over there. But otherwise, when you're in those like fast balls, and like even if they're in a little inside, start to try to tool line or keep shooting the line. Shooting towards the line. You're good there. And hold it. Good. Get in. Yes! That is how you fight out of it. Yes. Yes, go! Yes!
McClendon is just good energy.
She is such a good human, and I know that AU recruits good humans, but it takes, and I can speak from experience, it takes a lot of discipline, and it's difficult to sit on the bench when you want to be in there, you want to be part of the action, but to kind of sit on the sidelines and do it with grace and humility, there's a few players that do it so well, just giving to their team, and she is one of them.
Well, and that, I feel like that into the action was a great look at how she adds value there. I mean, here's Chaussee, eyes locked on her just as she's talking to her and giving her advice, and I'm losing my mind there. Claire is listening to every word. Sorry.
There's a lot of names to remember.
Deja was giving, I mean, that's a lot of value added, like your own little personal coach. Oh, that's a special, a Betty special just inside the back line. Team Hens has reached the magic number of 20. They will win the aggregate.
And quickly, again, they just kind of stole that in the last couple of moments while we were chatting away.
Mary Grote.
The 4-0 run snapped.
Right, and here's the thing. So Hens has won the overall, Team Hens has, but Hilly can still win this set. So there's still 40 points on the line per player for Team Hilly, and we've talked about it when we're looking at the leaderboard. It's all about win points and MVP points. Meanwhile, we're seeing Nicole Edmond-Cagliari for the first time today. Tori Dixon goes right at her. Benson up, third time. That block is so solid. Childress and Dixon.
Opportunity missed on the purple side because they went once, went again, and again. The thing to do when you do have a big solid block in front of you is to try to swing into the hand and recycle. The key to that is that your team has to cover you.
Yes.
There's no such thing as a recycle without a second person getting under it.
Yeah, then it's just a block.
Yeah, exactly.
Back behind, a different look, and running the middle with Willis.
Sneaking up there on that slide. Willis likes a little bit in front, a little bit behind. She can run pretty much everything on the court. I see her more as a defensive player, but I do like getting all your middles involved in the offense too.
Trouble. Tough angle as it's coming across. You know, as you look at the leaderboard on the left side of the screen, Edmond and Lillihan haven't even played yet, and they're still 1-3 in the overall. So their numbers are just going to keep pumping up.
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make, that Betty has to overcome them, has to get 200 points when everyone else would effectively get 0. Can she do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not with Leia on the court.
That other match will be coming up at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Team Linehan and Team Edmond. You can catch us on ESPNU. De La Cruz palming the ball. 4, 5, 6. Deep middle.
Oh, same zone.
It's just hard into the middle. Nice up. Options available. They go back to that play that worked. There's the cover by Benson. I couldn't draw a line like that from Chaussee back to the corner. Amazing.
I mean, I was listening to the broadcast last time. You were talking about how teams were giving her just a sliver.
Yes.
And that is literally all she needs. So her team does a good job to recycle there. And it's a high ball. It's inside, but she just cuts it. And it's all about the wrist there. It has nothing to do with speed or power. It's just that wrist snap.
7 kills for Willis. Nunderviller off hands. Team Helly's been chipping away at it. And they continue to. Now 22-18.
And every single point, I know we talk about every moment counts, every point counts, but there, every position on the leaderboard, wherever you finish, that's the bonus, the money that you get at the end of the season. It can be a difference of 1 point from player to player that can be thousands of dollars. So everything on the line here for every single moment.
That's great insight from you, who played in Athletes Unlimited. Brooke Nuneviller continuing to be powerful. Her 14th kill. For every one of those kills, you get 8 points. Dixon serve at Chaussee. Throw it down, Sydney Hilly. Sydney Hilly serving. Maren Grote up front, Brooke Nuneviller on the outside, and Sassi on the right for Team Hens. They bring Nuneviller inside for a different look.
It's not always the hard-driven ball. I love to see a ball that scores just off a bit of finesse. Nuneviller picking that up maybe from De La Cruz, who we saw do it just earlier.
Maybe so.
Probably had that in her toolkit already.
Set and match point. Just long, there's plenty of room. But again, we're talking points, that's -12. Here comes Sunshine, Deja McClendon.
How many bounces is that? Were you counting?
A lot. 20,000.
At least.
Outside. Nuneviller again to close it out. Brooke Nuneviller moves up into 4th place. She has never been a captain. Team Hens sweeps. They win all 3 matches and the aggregate.
Well, this is exactly why the orange side is so dangerous. You watch the blockers on that replay. They're going all which way, trying to follow a little bit of everyone because the weapons are there in every position on Team Hens. So well balanced. With Betty De La Cruz back in the action, this is a very dangerous team.
Scores everything, hence looking at our MVP points leaders, Chaussee, Edmond, Betty De La Cruz. Is Nuneviller going to work her way into this at some point soon?
I mean, she might, but I'm just going to call out Molly McCage there, middle blocker, getting a couple of MVP points. No big deal.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. McCage, you'll get to see her next as Team Linehan and Team Edmond square off.
Who do you think gets the MVP tonight?
Brooke Nuneviller.
Yeah, Nunneviller's getting some. Betty's probably getting some. Nuneviller top scorer with 18 points tonight.
I think she's your MVP one. Savannah standing by with 2 possible MVP candidates.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Betty, you flew in. You had to change time zones. How have you felt getting back into AU?
So beautiful today.
Coming from you, that's a serious compliment.
I'm honored.
How do you feel about traveling and getting back into AU?
Oh, it's a little difficult because I was playing also with different ball, and I changed in this long travel. But thanks God, we win, and I can help the team. Yeah.
You two have become quite the duo. What's the biggest piece of advice that you've given Brooke this season?
I think confidence, because I know when you are young, you feel some days you don't feel like big confidence, and I said to her, just confidence you need, because she is so good, and when she is really confident, she is, I think, unstoppable.
So are you, Betty. I think she's picking that up from you. Brooke, how have you fed off of Betty's performances when you two are on the same team?
I think I just learn from her a lot, and I ask her so many questions, and like whatever she tells me, I'm like soaking it up like a sponge. So, I mean, she's just so experienced, and I feel like it's really easy to just listen to her and learn from her every day.
I know that you like a low set. Betty, you like that higher set from Alicia. Tell me about your connection with your setter, Alicia Glass.
I know here in some teams I have maybe more than half responsibility, so I just take it and try to help and try to do my best, and I think this is all the team needs from me.
Thank you, Betty. Appreciate it. Brooke, I've got one more question for you as we're heading into week 5. How do you reflect on the way that you've grown and changed throughout this season and your entire rookie year?
I think flexibility is really important with this league, and it's just really important to just be able to change like how you play with different teammates, you know? And I think going into week 5, I'm really comfortable with a lot of the girls here, so it's just becoming easier and easier. And I've been just saying, just play volleyball the whole time. But
thank you, Brooke. Hey, maybe you and Betty will be the package deal from here on.
I hope so. I hope so.
Thank you, Brooke. Yeah. Keith, back to you.
Great job, Savannah. I love that you grabbed them before they even had a chance to towel off, but it just shows how hard they are working. And here is another look at it. They were the perfect duo, and it's almost like picture perfect. Rinse and repeat, one and then the other and then the other. Here's a look at some of the kills that Nuneviller finishing with 18 points. Betty De La Cruz finishing with 15, and there's the leaderboard. Betty back in 5th position. I mean, I can't believe it, but I actually very much can.
I mean, it's just amazing. Betty De La Cruz. Now, coming up, Leah Edmond and Allie Linehan will take to the court and keep playing. And this is before the MVP points, of course, so I would expect both Brooke and Betty De La Cruz to get some MVP points as well. The race is heating up. Next week is the final week, and a champion will be crowned. Final score, Team Hens wins 79-68, coming up at 9:30 Eastern on ESPNU. More Athletes Unlimited Volleyball. Team Linehan versus Team Edmond. Both of them winners from Friday. For my partners, Savannah Collins and Key Michael, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson. Once again, our final score, Team Hens with winning all sets and the aggregate.
Given our choices, we using our voices.